Hello and welcome to Algebra, where today we're going to learn how to distribute and combine like terms together. We're putting it all together. So we did distribute property already, we did combining like terms already, but now we're going to put those two skills together. Alright, so distribute property, let's do a quick review. So remember, distribute property, we take that number on the outside, so on this first one that's a 6, right? And we're going to times it to both things on the inside, right? We're giving it to both things on the inside. So I would do 6 times x, which will give me 6x. And then I would do 6 times 5. 6 times 5, they're both positive. A positive times a positive gives me a positive, and 6 times 5 is 30. So remember, this sign in front of this term, it stays with that term. The signs in front always stay with it. Let's do one negative one, just so I can see what you mean here. Let's do this one, like negative 8 times 7x. So negative 8 times 7 is negative 56. So I'm going to do negative 56, and this has an x, so the x just stays with it. And now I got to do this negative 8 times this 2, but remember this sign in front, that negative stays with that 2. So really it's negative 8 times negative 2. A negative times a negative is a positive. 8 times 2 is 16. Okay? Alright, combining like terms. Remember, combining like terms, you have to have the same variables to be able to combine them. So let's do like this first one here. If I have 3x, what else can I combine with 3x? Well, I can combine plus x. That's an x, and that's it. 3x, remember this sign in front stays with the term, and that tells us what to do. 3x plus x gives me 4x, right? Because this is really a 1 in front of that x, but they just don't write it. All right, so now I can do my next terms. Let's see, I have y's. Let's see, negative 5y. What other y's do I have? Oop, I got a plus 2y. Negative 5y plus 2y would give me negative 3. So I'd be right minus, for negative, minus 3y. All right, and now what else do I have? Well, I have a negative 3, and I have a plus 7. Those are just constants, they're numbers. I can add those together. Negative 3 plus 7 gives me a positive 4. So I'm going to write a plus 4. Okay? All right, so distribute property, you take the number on the outside, you multiply it to everything on the inside. Combining like terms, you can only combine things that have the same variable raised to the same exponent. Remember that? Like you can't combine x with x squared. Those are not like terms. Can't do that. Okay? So I have to have the same variable raised to the same exponent. Okay, so let's go over this next part here. We talked about this a little bit last time. We always write our answer in standard forms. That means we write our biggest exponent to our smallest exponent. So our biggest exponents go first, smallest exponents go last. Okay? Variables we put in alphabetical order. So like this one, I put x before y because x comes before y in the alphabet. All right? And then constants, which are numbers by themselves with no variables, they go at the end. Okay? So that's a review of what we did last couple classes. Let's put them together now. All right, so here's an example they gave to us already. It has negative 2, parentheses 3x minus 6 plus 4. So step 1 says draw arrows from the negative 2 to the 3x and the negative 6. So we have to distribute first. We always distribute first. In math, whenever there's parentheses, we almost always want to get rid of those parentheses first. And since I can't do 3x minus 6 because they're not like terms, I have to distribute to get rid of those parentheses. Okay? So that means negative 2 times 3x, which gives me negative 6x. And now I do negative 2 times negative 6, and that gives me a positive 12. And then I just bring down that plus 4 with it. So then I would combine my like terms. What can I combine here? Well, the 12 and the 4 are both constants. I can combine those two, right? 12 plus 4 gives me 16. That negative 6, I can't combine anything with it, so it just stays negative 6. And that is our answer. Okay? Let's try another one. Let's do a hard one. Let's do this one here. 4 minus parentheses negative 2x plus 8. All right, so what's touching the parentheses here? Well, it's not the 4 because the 4 is separated by this minus sign. So whenever you see a minus sign touching the parentheses, it's really like a negative 1 that's there. And then that negative 1 is what we're distributing to the other two things inside. So negative 1 times 2x would give me a positive 2x. And a negative 1 times a positive 8, remember that sign in front stays with that number. So a negative 1 times a positive 8 gives me a negative 8, right? And now I have this 4 in front, so I can bring that down, right? So now I'm left with 4 plus 2x minus 8. So now do I think to myself, what can I combine here? Well, I can see I have a 4, which is a constant, and I have a minus 8. That's a constant. So I can combine those two together. All right, so I see I have a 2x here that I can't combine anything with, right? All right, so the x values, the variable values, we want to write first. So I'm going to write 2x first. 2x, because I want my variable term to go first. There's nothing else I can combine that with. But now I have 4 minus 8. I can combine those. 4 minus 8 gives me negative 4. So to show negative 4, I write minus 4. And that's my final answer. I can't do anything else. It's just 2x minus 4. All right, let's try another tricky one. Let's do this top right one here. This top right one, I see I have x minus 6 parentheses negative 4 plus 2x close parentheses. What's touching the parentheses? Well, it's this 6, but what's in front of the 6? It's a minus sign. So that really means that that is a negative 6. Remember, the signs in front stay with the terms. Negative 6 times negative 4 will give me a positive 24. And now I gotta do negative 6 times positive 2. Remember, the sign in front stays with that. Negative times a positive is a negative. 6 times 2 is 12. So that would be 12. And that 2x had an x, so I have to keep that x with it. And then I can just bring down this x that was up above. All right, so now do I think to myself, what can I combine here? Well, I can combine this x and this minus 12x, right? X minus 12x will give me negative 11x. Because remember, this is really a 1 in front of this, right? So really it's 1 minus 12, which is negative 11. This positive 24, I have nothing else to combine it with, so I just bring it down as part of my answer. And I can't do anything else, so that's my answer. My answer is negative 11x plus 24. That's my final answer. Okay? Let's do one of these two down here. Let's do this bottom one kind of in the middle. This one here. Let's try it out. So I see I have two sets of parentheses. So that's a little different, right? That's a little different, but we're going to do the same thing. We're going to distribute first and then combine like terms. So I'm going to distribute, take this 3, and I'm going to times it to both things here, right? 3 times 2x gives me 6x. 3 times negative 1 gives me negative 3. All right, now I have to distribute this too, but I can't forget about this sign in front here. So this is really like a negative 2, and I'm going to multiply it to both things on the inside, right? Negative 2 times 4x is negative 8x, and negative 2 times, remember this is really a negative 1. Negative times a negative is a positive, and 2 times 1 is 2. So now I think to myself, what can I combine here? Let's see here. I have a 6x right here, right? What can I combine with that 6x? Ooh, I see an 8x. Ooh, so I'm going to circle that 8x too, but can't forget about that sign in front, right? So 6x minus 8x is negative 2x. And I combine those, so I can cross those off if I want. Now I'm left with negative 3 plus 2. Those are just constants, they're just numbers, I can combine them. Negative 3 plus 2 is negative 1. And that's my final answer. I cannot do anything else. I can't combine negative 2x and minus 1 because they're not like terms. So I am done right there. All right. One last one that you'll see sometimes. They'll say, like, what's the perimeter of this shape? Well, perimeter means that we add up all of our sides, right? We're going all the way around the whole outside of the shape. So this is a rectangle. So if this side's 2x plus 8, this side is also 2x plus 8, right? If this side's 3x minus 4, this side's also 3x minus 4. So then we can combine our like terms just by going all the way around, right? So I'm going to start with my x terms. I see I have a 3x, a 2x, a 3x, and a 2x. If I add those together, what do I get? 3x plus 2x is 5x, plus another 3x is 8x, plus another 2x is 10x. So that gives me 10x. All right, so now I want to combine my constants. Remember, my constants are numbers without variables. So I have negative 4, I have a plus 8, I have another negative 4, and I have another plus 8, right? Negative 4 plus 8 is 4. 4 minus 4 is 0. 0 plus 8 is 8. So then that's my answer. It'd be 10x plus 8. I can't do anything else because these are not like terms. So that's my final answer, 10x plus 8. Okay, there's 3 more problems right here. 1, 2, 3, right? Those 3 problems that we did not do together. You go ahead and try those 3 on your own. Get them checked by a teacher when you're done, and I'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.